What is going on, everybody? Fluxo here, and welcome to this week's video where we're covering episode 2 of TYPHON Industries. Last week we built our entrance into the canyon. This week we are following that up by adding an ore storage for the incoming train, installing all access areas for all 3 floors, and finally encasing everything into the terrain with a nice aesthetic finish. The feedback I got from you guys in the last episode sealed the deal on continuing this series until completion. I want to thank all of you for the likes, the comments, and just the general support you've shown throughout the channel. We really have had a huge lift in subscribers, so welcome to everyone that is new here. I only hope I can keep producing a consistent level of content that you guys enjoy week by week. Without further ado though, let's get into the video. Once I had my incoming road, I wanted to first and foremost get a feel for how I was going to bring this whole build to life. A great way you can do this is by running a network of belts throughout your build. This is not only for something for aesthetics, but also I use belt systems like these to really bring the build out of itself and give it more character. This is nothing too complicated. Basically, I just gave myself additional storage. This will prevent the flow of ore being cut off while the train is docking. Next up, I wanted to see how much room I would have to work with once I had finished the rear end of the entrance. I near enough mirrored the style I gave to the front of the entrance, adding beams around the doorway to give it a more structured feel. Once I had finished with the basic layout, I placed a sign to break up the flat look to the wall, and then I gave some darker shade of colour to add more depth. Lastly, I added metal beams and then gave the doorway a slight veranda to finish it off. Moving on from there, I added some walkways and an access area to the train station above. As the platform was sticking out from the wall, I then added a support to give the platform a sturdy feel. I then finished off the walkway and stairs by neatening up the surrounding walls and added some lights. Finally, to polish the whole thing off, I added some 1 meter edging around the ceiling. I was happy with how the rear entrance turned out, as it brought all the character inside from the front of the building. Next up, I wanted to finish off the belt system, so all the ore lines were ready to be distributed to the future projects. I did this by making a bus up the left side of the build, and then I connected that up to the existing system. After shaping out the room I needed for my car park, I then built a lower floor to connect with the belts. With the belt work now finished, we can now move on and start giving the whole build shape and structure. I decided to add hypertubes to each side of the build, along with encasing them in concrete pillars. This created large columns that made the build feel like it was being supported. I wanted to know what space I had to work with so I could shape out the floors to how I wanted them, so I finished off encasing the station on the top floor and then added some light work for aesthetics. Once I had finished encasing the station, I shaped out the outside of the top floor to give me an idea of how I would structure the lower floors. I encased the ladder beltwork and concrete pillars, gave them a colour change and also added some lights. Not only does this look aesthetically pleasing, but it also adds more support and strength to the build itself. Now I had everything I needed in place, I started to shape the outside of the lower floor. Moving on from there, I decided to add a middle archway leading on from the entrance. I did this by keeping to the style that we have throughout the build, but also added a sign to break up the archway to prevent it from looking flat. Finally, to cover the crossover clash of the pillars, I added some beams with a simple column of lights. I then moved on and encased the left ladder belts by keeping to the same style that I had used previously. With the additional archway, encased belt pillars and the hypertube stanchions, the lower floor was starting to not only take shape, but also starting to feel really solid and structured. Before finishing off the lower floor, I needed to shape out the second floor. I did this by following the outline of everything we already had placed, and ended up being really happy with how it turned out. Using the overhang of the second floor lip, I brought the shape down and used the same overhang for the ground floor. I then finished off the shape of the first floor and the ground floor before sitting the whole build comfortably into the terrain using 4-meter walls. Once I had finished sitting the build, I then encased the ground floor by simply using pillars and cutting out a doorway. I then lightened the shade of the pillars to give it more depth. Finally, I edged the ground floor using 1-meter walls to finish off the floor itself completely. I wanted to encase the left side of the first floor. I once again followed the theme using pillars, and then after putting in the secure window, I inverted the beams from the ceiling to add more shape. I went with the lighter shade on the pillars to brighten up the inside, adding signs above the doors to break up the flat look. I then finished off the wall by securing the window with beams. I then amended the entrance to the car park by using patterns, edging and light. For the outer wall, I used a large fixed sign and then encased that in some inverted pillars. Once I was happy with the colour, I finished it off with some beam edging and some lights. I followed the beam edging around the corner and added lights. I then put some last touches in the car park and hypertube entrance. Finish off the entire first floor, I lastly added some raised floor for the inside window and finished off the inside with a mirrored fix-it sign and some lighting. With the lower floor finished, it now gives the build a sturdy foundation while still keeping the shape and aesthetics. Moving on to the second floor, I followed the same format as the first floor and the ground floor, which seemed to work out perfectly. I finished off the balcony with asphalt flooring and then inverted the wall to add depth to the windows. After adding lighting above the window, I finished off by encasing the last of the outside wall. Moving on to the inside of the second floor, I covered the back of the signs with beams and then a fixed sign. Once I had laid my flooring and the outside pattern to the inside, I added a doorway leading out to the walkway. Lastly, I had patterns to the flooring and then finished off with some pattern edging. I wanted to leave the second floor accessible so then I could check the flow of the incoming ore. Moving on to the top floor, I gave the outside trim some last minute shaping, and then repeating the entrance style using grid work and pillars to give the station some depth and character. After adding my stencil for the roof, I finished off the outside edging for the floor itself. I then replicated the entrance of the station by inverting the pillars inwards to add more shape to the build. From there, I followed the grid look to the roof and then finished off the outside edge. I then brought down the roof by one foundation and finished it all off with some shape and edging. After reconnecting the belt ladders, I finished them off with encasing them by replicating them with the lower floors. To finish off the outline of the top floor, I amended some angles and then edged them with walls and 1 meter walls to finish. Realizing the front looked a little out of shape, I installed additional grids on each side. I finally finished the top floor off with some lighting and finishing touches. After circling the build and amending some last minute colour changes, I felt like the ledges needed some support. I achieved this by adding pillar supports and then finishing it off with some diagonal shaping. There you have it guys, episode 2 of our TYPHON Industries season. I really hope this is something that you guys are enjoying and maybe taking some tips from the process or designs themselves. I want to thank you all for your continued support. It really does mean the world to me to wake up each day and do this for a living. Like and subscribe for more content like this on a weekly basis. I appreciate you all being here, but as for myself, I'll catch you all in the Discord.